the #1 selling Toyota dealer, Coons Tyson's Toyota.
Good morning, America. Deadly mid-air explosion.
We have part of the aircraft missing.
An engine blasts apart on a Southwest jet with 149 on board, killing a mother of 2. Shrapnel shatters a window, flying into the plane. That mother nearly sucked out. Passengers try desperately to pull her back into the cabin. The hero pilot makes an emergency landing. Now 2 people who survived that terrifying flight are live on GMA.
Also this morning, secret North Korea meeting revealed. CIA Director Mike Pompeo, President Trump's nominee for Secretary of State, going face-to-face with Kim Jong-un.
And porn star Stormy Daniels fights back.
I'm sorry, I'm done. I'm done being bullied.
Releasing this sketch based on her memory of a man she claims threatened her to keep quiet about Donald Trump. And in his first on-camera interview, we hear exclusively from the former Trump doorman why he claims he was paid to keep quiet.
And celebrating the life of Barbara Bush, the fierce and funny former First Lady and matriarch of a political dynasty.
I hated it when anyone criticized my brilliant husband, and I'm furious when they criticize my son.
Passing away overnight, surrounded by her family, her husband by her side, the tributes from her children, world leaders, and so many more pouring in this morning.
Live in Times Square, this is GMA with Robin Roberts, George Stephanopoulos, and Michael Strahan.
We do say good morning, America. Barbara Bush was just such a special, special woman, and we will have much more on her legacy. The wife and mother of a president, only the second woman who can say that, and of course, family. Oh, so much at the center of everything she did, Paula.
Yeah, and what a love story between she and 73 years of marriage. And her husband and the love of her life, President George H.W. Bush, was there by her side in those final moments. And her sons, President George W. Bush and Governor Jeb Bush, sharing powerful words about their mother. This morning, we are also hearing from the other presidents, former first ladies, athletes, so many around the world. The love is just flowing towards the Bush family.
She made such a mark. President Trump has ordered the flags to be flown at half-staff. There you see the White House today. That is a live look at the White House. Of course, we're going to have much more celebration of the life of Barbara Bush ahead, but we do begin with that deadly engine explosion on a Southwest flight. The mid-air blast shattered a window. It hurled shrapnel into the plane. It killed a mother on board. There you can see the twisted and mangled engine.
So here's what we know at this hour. There were 149 people on board. 1 person was killed, Jennifer Reardon, a mother of 2. 7 others injured, and this is the first deadly accident involving a domestic airline since 2009. Our senior transportation correspondent, David Curley, is at Philadelphia Airport where they made that emergency landing. David, an urgent investigation now underway. Good morning.
Absolutely, Robin. Some frightening, dramatic moments in that flight, and this morning investigators are here in Philadelphia trying to learn, is this a broader problem with 737 engines? For Southwest Airlines, this is the first in-flight fatality due to an incident in the airline's nearly 50-year history.
The dramatic emergency, just 20 minutes into the packed Southwest flight from New York City to Dallas. The left engine ripping apart, sending shrapnel flying through this window and sucking passenger Jennifer Reardon partway out of the airplane. Fellow passengers rushing to hold her, frantically trying to keep her inside the plane.
Somebody screamed and we realized what had happened when the window went out. And so I tried and I couldn't. I just couldn't.
With the cabin rapidly depressurizing, the pilot, Tammy Jo Schultz, immediately takes the plane down, making an emergency landing in Philadelphia.
Could you have the medical meet us there on the runway as well? We've got injured passengers.
Injured passengers, okay. And is your airplane physically on fire?
No, it's not on fire, but part of it's missing. They said there was a hole and someone went out.
I'm sorry, you said there was a hole and somebody went out?
With oxygen masks deployed, passengers frantically texting their loved ones, saying goodbye.
I spent a lot of my time trying to articulate what I wanted my final words to be.
As the plane lands in Philadelphia, passengers scramble to tend to Reardon, who is badly injured.
The flight attendant said, would you please, is there anybody here who knows CPR? And I was like, out of my seatbelt. These two wonderful men, the EMT and a passenger, they managed to get her back inside the plane, and we lay her down and we started CPR.
Reardon, a mother of two from New Mexico, eventually died from her injuries. At least 7 others hurt. This morning, passengers praising the pilot, Tammy Jo Schultz, seen here hugging some of them after the flight, as a hero for her quick-thinking actions. Schultz was one of the Navy's first female pilots.
Engines in jetliners do fail, but debris is supposed to be contained. Experts believe in this incident, the debris blows out of the housing, with some of it ripping into the fuselage in that window. It is rare. The last death caused by an incident like this more than 20 years ago. But 2 years ago, Southwest had an uncontained engine failure in another 737.
Maybe they're related to that previous event, and maybe they're not. But we need to understand what's going on here.
A saddened CEO of Southwest says he's not aware of any trouble with that engine.
We don't know the cause of this incident, and it's premature to even link it to other engine failures that have occurred.
Now, parts of that engine that ripped apart were found on the ground 60 miles from here. Southwest says that it is going to start enhanced inspections of its 737s immediately, Robin, to see if there is a problem with any part of its fleet.
People want to know. David, thank you. 2 passengers who were on that flight, registered nurse Peggy Phillips and Marty Martinez, now join us here. First of all, our hearts go out to everybody that was on board, and especially Jennifer's family. And let me start with you first. I know you're back home in Dallas. 20 minutes into the flight, something goes horribly wrong. Can you tell us what you experienced?
Yes, it was terrifying. There was an incredibly loud noise, and the plane started shaking like I've never experienced before. And I think we all knew at that point that something was terribly wrong. The oxygen mask dropped down out of the compartment, and we all assisted each other trying to get our masks on and helping people cross the aisle. And I noticed at the time that there was a gentleman, a young man, who was helping. He was out of his seat with his mask off, helping other people. And I noticed him because it was something I wasn't really expecting. And I kind of had him pegged for probably some sort of medical personnel, but I didn't know that for sure. And, you know, as this progressed and we did have the incident behind us, I saw him go down the aisle very, very quickly. And I turned around to try to figure out what exactly was going on. And there were a lot of, the flight attendants were there, the Jim and Andrew, the EMT, were there. And I did not know the situation at that time. I knew something had happened, but I wasn't sure what. And, you know, we tend to go, okay, there's a lot of people back there. I don't want to go back and make the situation any worse by crowding things. But the minute they said, we need someone who knows CPR, I got up and went back, took off my oxygen mask, went back, and we began CPR immediately. Andrew and I ran the CPR. He's the EMT, and he was just the most courageous young man. And I think we had a lot of, I don't consider myself a hero by any stretch, and but there were heroes on that plane, and I was just doing my job. Well, Peggy, Andrew was doing his job.
Right, you're very kind, but I mean, everybody who jumped in, such as yourself and others, doing whatever could be done. And Marty, the reason that we know so much of what happened on that flight, you know, some people were reaching for their phones and trying to send texts. You reached for your laptop and you went Facebook Live.
Yeah.
What were you thinking there?
Immediately I knew something was going wrong, you know, between the first explosion that I heard and oxygen masks being deployed, and then I heard another loud sort of boom, and that was the window going out. And once it started shaking violently, you know, it's everyone's worst fear. You know, at the back of your mind, we've all flown before and you feel this turbulence, right? And in the back of your mind, you always think, is this the way I'm gonna go? And then most oftentimes you get to your place safely. And all I could think of in that moment was, I need to communicate with my loved ones. And it was just very instinctual for me to think of to get Wi-Fi. And as everyone was putting on their oxygen mask, I was reaching for my laptop. And think about this, you know, I don't know how many minutes I had left. I didn't know whether it would work, and I'm frantically looking for my credit card and trying to punch in the credit card number so that I could speak to the outside world. And then I came to the moment where I had Wi-Fi, and then to be put in that position where I had to figure out what loved ones I was going to reach out to, and in what order, and what do I tell them, and I just thought, how can I reach people en masse? And I immediately thought of Facebook Live, and I thought that if these are my last few moments on Earth, like I want people to know what happened. And it was just the most terrifying experience.
I can only imagine. And when you're told to brace for the landing, and then you all are on the ground, I know that the pilot, who is Tammy Jo Schultz, who I believe is a former fighter pilot, and everybody on board just wanted to give her high praise in what she did, Marty.
Oh, absolutely. I think, you know, when we were instructed to brace yourselves, you know, it was from a very frantic voice, brace yourself, brace yourself. I look out of my window and I see this city that was very foreign to me. I didn't know, it didn't look like New York City. I was like, where could we possibly be landing? And I had no idea if I felt like I could touch the tops of, you know, the skyscrapers in Philly, what I now know to be Philly. And I kept thinking, where could we possibly be landing? You know, are we crash landing in, you know, in downtown Philly? Are we landing on a freeway runway? And that was a terrifying experience. I didn't know how hard it was going to be.
Oh. And then for her to come out and hugging like that, and I'm glad you drove here from Philly. You didn't fly, but Peggy, you flew home to Dallas. I mean, the experience, I know they're telling me the wrap, but just the experience, Peggy, of getting on the flight and going home, and what is it like to wake up the next morning after experiencing something like this, Peggy?
You know, the whole thing was a little surreal. You know, my training was awesome, and I just did what I do, and it kicked in. I did what needed to be done, what any registered nurse would do. This morning, waking up, I can't say that I slept very well last night, and I'm sure most passengers did not sleep very well last night. I'm terribly, terribly sorry for the family. My heart goes out to them.
Yes, to Jennifer.
But I'm so proud of my fellow passengers and the flight crew and the pilot.
Well,
they did an awesome job.
Bless your heart. I'm glad that you're home. And Marty, thank you for being here as well. And again, we're thinking of everybody that was on board, especially Jennifer and the 7 people who were injured. All right, thank you. Thank you both. George?
Boy, just an astonishing, harrowing story. We're going to turn now to the latest from President Trump. He's in Mar-a-Lago meeting with the Japanese Prime Minister. Our chief White House correspondent, John Carl, is also there. And John, a pretty stunning development overnight. We learned that the CIA director, Mike Pompeo, Trump's nominee for Secretary of State, met secretly with North Korean leader Kim Jong-un.
This meeting happened in absolute secrecy, George, the highest level meeting of a U.S. official with the leader of North Korea in almost 2 decades. And it's an indication of just how serious President Trump is about wanting to have that one-on-one summit with Kim Jong-un. The president is up and tweeting about this already this morning, confirming that the meeting with Pompeo happened in North Korea and saying, meeting went very smoothly and a good relationship was formed. Details of the summit are now being worked out. Denuclearization will be a good thing for the world, also for North Korea. George?
Hoping for early June, late May?
That's right.
Okay, John Carl, thanks very much. Paula?
Thanks, George. And more now on the life of former First Lady Barbara Bush. She passed away at 92 years old at her home in Houston, surrounded by her family. My GMA Weekend co-anchor Dan Harris is right there in Texas. And Dan, she was the beloved wife of one president, mother of another, and tributes are just pouring in this morning.
Paula, good morning. Even in this politically divided era, members of both parties are coming together to salute Barbara Bush. Overnight, we heard statements from the Trumps, the Obamas, the Carters, and the Clintons. Of course, the most emotional statements coming from members of the Bush family itself. We heard from the former President George W. Bush, who said, quote, "Mom kept us on our toes and kept us laughing until the end. I'm a lucky man that Barbara Bush was my mother." And so many, of course, concerned about George Bush Sr. this morning overnight. A spokesman for the former president saying he, of course, is heartbroken to lose his beloved Barbara, his wife of 73 years. He held her hand all day today and was at her side when she left this good earth. There will be a funeral for Barbara Bush on Saturday right here in Houston. After the funeral, a procession about 90 miles up the road to College Park, Houston, College Station, Texas, where they will be holding a burial, private burial. She will be buried right next to her daughter, Robin, who died at age 3 of leukemia. Paula, back to you.
All right, Dan Harris, thank you so much for your reporting. And Senior once said when he married her, he hit the proverbial jackpot. Just that love story.
Yeah. She left such a powerful legacy, as we all know, and she was known for being down to earth, a passionate defender of her family, her sense of humor, and driven by the desire to serve others. She was the matriarch to an American political dynasty, known for her fierce family loyalty.
I hated it when anyone criticized my brilliant husband, and I'm furious when they criticize my son.
And sharp sense of humor.
That same fellow that I used to yell at to please pick up his room, to see him as president is truly amazing.
Born Barbara Pierce, the third of 4 children. At 16, she met George Herbert Walker Bush at a school dance. They were engaged a year and a half later, before he left for World War II. He knew back home she was waiting.
I would stand there and look out at the blackness of the sky, and I would think about friends I lost, a country I loved, and about a girl named Barbara.
When he returned, they were off to Texas, where the Bushes raised their 6 children. But tragedy struck when they lost their 3-year-old daughter, Robin, to leukemia.
You don't get over it. It's very hard to talk about her, but...
I know, even now, after all these years. But it makes everybody more valuable. George Bush and I love every single living human more because of Robin.
While her husband planned a political career, Mrs. Bush was there by his side all the way up to the nation's highest office, President of the United States.
I, George Herbert Walker Bush, do solemnly swear.
The woman with the down-to-earth style thrust into the glamorous role of First Lady, an irony she would joke about when she got to the White House.
Please notice the hair, the makeup, designer clothes.
As First Lady, Barbara Bush left her own mark promoting literacy. And after she waved goodbye to the White House, 8 years later, a new chapter would begin.
Mother, everybody loves you and so do I. Growing up, she gave me love and lots of advice. I gave her white hair.
And her marriage, well, a love story lasting more than 70 years. Mrs. Bush, a rock by her husband's side, also called the glue that held the Bush family together.
My dream for our family has always been they'd grow up, they'd get a good education, they'd be happily married, or they'd find someone they could be happy with, and that they would then turn around and give back to the country because they're so lucky. And my dream has been answered.
And in her final hours, she was surrounded by the ones she dreamed for and loved so very much. Well, that family photo, seeing everyone. She was passionate about her family, serving this country.
And she chose to have them all by her side in those final moments.
She did.
What a legacy she leaves. And let's send things over to Rob. There are a lot of dangerous fires that are burning across the Southwest. What can you tell us?
Hey, good morning, Paula. We're looking at over 300,000 acres of land burned there in parts of western Oklahoma, state of emergency there, and 80-mile-an-hour winds yesterday in parts of Colorado. We're looking for more wind tomorrow. Summer-like cities now, brought to you by CarMax.
That was invigorating. You're probably wondering why I just carved a giant wooden tiger. Well, the answer is that a real one would maul me. I've crafted Dr. Whiskers here as a visual aid to show you that should you visit the lot, CarMax associates will not pounce like tigers because people don't like that. Come here to buy a car, Dr. Whiskers won't pounce. Nobody will.
Heading out the door here this morning, you'll want to layer up. Temperatures are starting out in the mid to upper 30s, most neighborhoods this morning with that freeze warning that was posted. 56 by lunchtime today. It will feel better. And with the sunshine, we should hit 66 during the afternoon, around 4 or 5 o'clock or so. Partly sunny by the afternoon, and we'll track more sunshine for the upcoming weekend. It is Earth Day on Sunday. The high temperature 64, the warmest temperature of the weekend. Finally, by maybe the end of next week, higher temperatures.
Coming up, Stormy Daniels fights back against President Trump, releasing a sketch based on her memory of a man she claims threatened her to keep quiet about Trump. The president is responding.
Bear presents